I've got the memory of an elephant. I remember one time I went to the zoo and saw an elephant. I was disappointed to find that Dunkirk wasn't actually a biography of William Shatner. I accidentally kicked my dog early and it bit me on the bollocks. My mate said it's karma. I said, no, if anything, it's even more angry. I tell you what always catches my eye, short people with umbrellas. I put on a lot of weight, so I rang up Weight Watchers. I said, it's an emergency, can you send somebody round? And they said, yes, we can, we got loads of them. I was actually thrown out of Weight Watchers for making sarcastic comments at the weekly weigh-in. As you can imagine, I accepted the decision with huge grace, because they threw her out as well. I was watching TV, the announcer said there's a documentary about the clitoris on the red button, but I couldn't find it. I was in a fancy lingerie shop. I said, are these knickers satin? He said, no, they're new. I didn't know what to get my little niece for Christmas, so I asked my sister what she's into. Apparently, at the moment, she's mad about frozen stuff, so I got her some oven chips and peas. It's been a tough week. I got myself a memory foam mattress, and now it's trying to blackmail me. As a child, I was made to walk the plank. We couldn't afford a dog. I went on a positive thinking course. It was shit. You would be. And it was half empty. The area in a Nandos between the front and back door is called the peri-perineum. What I like most about that joke is that people who know what a perineum is usually haven't heard of Nandos. Ironically, there's only a very small overlap between the two. The doctor told me to lose some weight. I said, how? He said, don't eat anything fatty. I said, what, pies, chips, that sort of thing? He said, no, just don't eat anything fatty. Old lady names are very much back in fashion at the minute, like Lily or Elsie or Rose, and we wanted something like that for our daughter, but we couldn't decide, so in the end we just called her Nan. Grow into it.
As much as you want to save animals, I'm pretty sure you're not going to do it by buying cosmetics. Pretty sure you can't walk into the body shop and buy some burdock root peppermint oil foot scrub, and some little badger somewhere in Scotland is going to go, wow, I feel a whole lot better about my life right now. Somebody's buying that burdock root peppermint oil foot scrub. I don't see the point in testing cosmetics on rabbits anyway, because they're already cute. Slather some lip gloss and eyeliner all over. Now they're all gussied up like some $3 whore. There's no dignity in that for a rabbit whatsoever. You want to test out cosmetics? Test them out on big game, because they stink. Get up under a hippopotamus there and get some roll-on deodorant under his armpit. See how fresh and self-assured he stays all day, huh? Little lip gloss on a beaver. Real beaver. Stay with me, fella. Real beaver. Right? Dam building, log-eating beaver. If he's charged through 60 logs and he's still wearing that lip gloss, that's some damn good lip gloss right there, ladies and gentlemen. You know this whole thing about, you ever meet someone famous and you tell your friends, and then they say, well, what was he like? Because all they really want to hear is that he was a prick. That's why they like to say Tom Cruise is the nicest guy in Hollywood. And I always think, well, if I was making $8 million a film, I'd be nice too. Jesus Christ, but I'm not sure he is that nice. Because I always read these articles about how he's so insular and he's into his Scientology and he, you know, stays at a hotel won't make eye contact with anyone in the hotel because he doesn't want to talk about the plots to his new films. Apparently, as if staring Tom Cruise in the face, he would just crack under pressure. What are you staring at? Hey, you want to hear about my new film? You seen a Tom Cruise film like he couldn't figure out the plot in about 18 seconds? Oh, Christ. He's a cocktail maker. He's a pretty good cocktail maker, too. Till he has a crisis of confidence and can't make cocktails anymore. Then he meets a good-looking woman who talks him into being a better cocktail maker. A riveting piece of cinema that was. Then he's a race car driver. Pretty good race car driver, too. Till he has a crisis of confidence. Can't race cars anymore. Then he meets a good-looking woman who talks him into being a better race car driver. Then he's a jet pilot. Some of you are starting to see a pattern emerge here. Pretty good jet pilot? Yes, he was. Until he had a crisis of confidence, couldn't fly jets anymore. Then I believe he met a good-looking woman who talked him into being a better jet pilot. Then he was a sports agent. Then he was the brother of a retarded guy. He was a pretty good brother of a retarded guy until he had a crisis of confidence and wasn't so sure he was such a good brother of a retarded guy. And then he met a good-looking woman who talked him into being a better brother of a retarded guy. Then he was some kind of, I don't know what he's in now, War of the Worlds. Maybe he fights the world. You know what? I bet he's a pretty good world fighter. But at some point he'll probably have a crisis of confidence. He's going to meet a good-looking woman who convinces him it's okay to fight the world. Could be a Scrabble player for all I care. He's a pretty good Scrabble player. Until he draws all vowels. Has a crisis of consonants. And he meets a lovely Welsh woman who teaches him a lot of words he's never heard before.
It's lovely to be here. I've come all the way from Brighton. Just in case you're wondering what this haircut is about. Might be a new face for some of you people. Don't panic, the BBC invited me here because they needed a beige lesbian. So I'm just here to tick some boxes. Not your box, madam, just a metaphorical box. I'm half Spanish, that's what's happening there. I've got a Spanish mum, and she lives here in the UK. It's all very legal. She's lived longer in the UK than she's ever lived in Spain, but the brilliant thing about my mum is that she's never lost her accent. She's done very, very good. Lost the words she cannot pronounce. Lost the words she cannot pronounce, huh? My favourite word that my mum's never been able to pronounce is my brother's name. It's not even a difficult name, his name's Stephen. I don't know if you've noticed this, Spanish people, any word that begins with the letter S, they struggle, right? So my mum doesn't call him Stephen, she calls him Steven. What's his name, Mum? Steven. Is it? Isn't it just Stephen? Even if I don't know his name is my son, it is Steven! You don't want to mess with my mum. She's not like British people here in this country. We can be quite passive-aggressive, can't we? She's just very aggressive woman. I don't know how my mum's never really coped in this country, and I think it's because, like a lot of Mediterranean people, she's quite loud, yeah? She's got one volume, it's like this. Hello! How are you? Whereas in this country, particularly if we're middle class, we tend to be low talkers, don't we? We don't like to raise our voices, do we? Why? Because we've got money. And we just assume that if you are raising your voice, well, you're probably poor. Or worse, foreign. Great thing about having a Mediterranean mum is they feed you. Oh, my God. She's always feeding. That's her way of showing that she loves her children, is to feed us. You know, I can remember going around friends' houses, you know, like English mums. Go around an English mum's house and the conversation with mum's more like this. I think you've had enough. mum will feed you till you puke. Anything can be going on in my life and my mum will relate it back to a meal that she's cooked. Do you know what I mean? Like, so good or bad, particularly if I'm depressed. If I phone up my mum and I've had a terrible day, yeah? I phone up my mum, conversation always goes like this. Oh, Jennifer, my God, I'm so sorry to hear that you're having a hard time right now. But you know what? Don't worry, okay? I made a soup. Come home. You sound hungry. I made a chicken carne, made a lamb tagine, made a casserole, Jennifer. I made some tortillas, some paella, some curry, Jennifer. You love curry, maybe some meatballs, some pork ball, beef ball, aniseed ball, banana ball. You're a lesbian. You don't eat enough balls. Please, come home. Eat my balls.
They say it's hard, you know, bringing kids up is difficult. They say kids these days are influenced by these new hyper-violent computer games. And that's nuts, isn't it? If we'd been influenced by the computer games from our childhood, we'd have to go around going like, beep. Rubbish, wouldn't it? No one would play with that kid with beep, beep. Can I be in your gang? No, you're a bit weird, mate, to be honest. Imagine being influenced by Pac-Man. You'd have to like walk round in a darkened room munching pills and listening to repetitive music. The younger people laughing and clapping, the older ones going, who is this Pac-Man you speak of? It's not one of the rough boys from the estate, is he? See what some rough kids where I live. And they're not being rough, they're just being confusing. You know, you come out of your house, they go, yeah, your mum makes gravy for leopards, innit? Yes, I believe she does. She does a lot of charity work. These are scary kids. Even the dirty old men are scared of these kids. See him turn up in their car, put the window down, like, hello, little boy, do you want a sweet? The kid's like, what sort of sweets have you got? Said it best be good if you come on here and trouble me with your sweetie talk, right? You don't want any mojo or drumstick rubbish, you get me? You must have a serious sweetie offer for me, boy. Blokes panic. I was like, well, I've got bonbons. I wasn't sure what to bring, to be honest. Dib-dab there, and a wham-bar. Wham-bar, your sweets are rubbish, man. Shut up. No. Wham-bars used to be big like that. Now they're small, innit? So you're going to have to do better than a wham-bar if you want to see my dick, right? Hey, man, look at your car driving a Saab. You got no pride. Get out, you wham-bar, bitch. Next pervert, please. How many sweets have you got, Sweaty? What do you mean, Neverland? Yeah. But we live in exciting times anyway, you know. It's very exciting being in London, you know. The Olympics. Fantastic. We didn't really want the Olympics till we heard France might get it. British people are, no, all that running and jumping. It's not really for us, is it? When is it? No, I'm busy that week. What? France are going to get it? Bollocks, we'll have it. Only in London would we have to have a poster campaign saying, back the bid. No, fuck off, it'll be rubbish. Don't you think that's a bizarre response to that question? Like, would you like the oldest, most historically significant athletic competition the world has ever known, attracting athletes from every known nation on the face of the planet to come here and perform at the peak of their abilities in the very city where you live? Most British people go, where will we park? You know, because it's all residents round here. There's others going, no, man, the tubes will be packed, you get me? People getting on the underground with, like, javelins and shit. No. Coming in the escalator with a shot put, health and safety, boy. And there's a whole other section of British society going, you what? The Olympics? Let a load of foreigners in? Ones who can run and jump and swim, you let them in, you'll never fucking catch them. Huh? Place to be overrun with Lycra refugees. You're having a laugh, ain't you, mate? They'll peel them little numbers off their jackets. You watch them, they're sneaky. I read about it in the Mail.
And this is what I'm talking about, the assumption that if you're in a place like that, you obviously are the help. Okay, example 2, that's it, white people. One more example, and then we're moving on, right? I'm on tour in the UK. I'm going up to Leeds. All my team was already up in Leeds setting up the theatre. I'm traveling with my tour manager and best friend, Lila, also a black woman. So I go, you know what? That's Lila. I go, you know what, Lila? Let's not drive. It's a long drive. Let's get a train and go up in comfort. So we rush down to the train station. I buy us 2 first-class tickets. There's a train leaving, so we jump on the train takes off. And we're walking through the train towards the first-class carriage. We walk into the first-class carriage. This white woman is sitting at a table. She looks up, she sees us, and at the top of her voice, she shouts, this is first class! Now Lila goes, what the fuck did you say? And I hold Lila, no, Lila, no. I just grab her by her collar, no, Lila, no. No, Lila, no, Lila, no. Watch me humiliate this bitch just with my mouth. Come back. So at the top of my voice, I say, thank you, lady. But what was it about us that made you assume that we didn't belong in the first-class carriage? She starts to fumble. Everybody on the train just kind of leans out from behind their seats. And she gets flustered. She's like, and then all she could think of was like, I thought you were lost. And I was like, how'd you get lost on a moving train going in one direction, bitch? How? Now, this woman was not alone. She was with her husband. Her husband was sitting opposite her at the table, same table. But we did not see her husband's face for this entire confrontation because the entire time he was hidden behind the newspaper, just... His hands never came down. All we saw were his knuckles just gripping that paper. And they were in their 60s. So they'd obviously been married a long time, and he's behind that newspaper going, ah! Nosy, big-mouth cow! 30 years we've been married, and every day of those 30 years I've said, mind your own fucking business! And now we're both gonna get beaten up by these 2 black boys.
I am quite impressed at the number of sports that have been adapted for disabled people, though. It's nice that they are so inclusive these days. I reckon we should go further and adapt versions of classic board games as well. You could play a very special edition of Guess Who, where all the characters had disabilities. No one would ever win, because everyone would be too afraid to describe their character in case they crossed the fence. The questions would be fun as well. Is your person incontinent? Does your person have crayon around his mouth? Does your person have trouble speaking properly? Is your person Danny Dyer? You could also have a disabled version of Monopoly, where every space is just free parking. Speaking from the personal experience of a bloke with a disability, I think that the dating game is much harder for people like myself. I've tried speed dating. That didn't work. By the time I've typed out a sentence, it's time to move on to the next person. And I'm not looking for sympathy either. I'm just using emotional blackmail to try to get someone to sleep with me. I'll be in the bar afterwards, if any of you are interested. Yes, even you, sir. One of the main problems I have with dating is that I find it hard to approach girls in the traditional sense. I don't have the ability to chat up a woman. When I meet a girl, I have to type them up. And that just sounds wrong. You type up your dissertation, you type up your will, and you type up your letter to your grandma. There's nothing sexy about being typed up. Even if there was, when you're typing excitedly to a woman and accidentally spell something wrong, autocorrect is a ducking nightmare. For example, I once asked a girl if she had a pen I could borrow, so I could write down her number. I didn't expect it to say, "Can I borrow your penis?" So you can imagine my surprise when she pulled it out right in front of me. It's at this point in my set when I like to remind people that I'm not related to Stephen Hawking in any way. In fact, the closest I have ever come to being Hawking is when I went to see The Theory of Everything at the cinema. It's the movie about Stephen Hawking and his life. I didn't go to watch it though. I just went so that I could sit at the back, say random sentences on my iPad, and fuck with the rest of the audience.